Honey, let me tell you how my parents forced me to marry a stranger, a 52-year-old man when I was only 23, just because he could invest in our family business. They told me it was my duty, told me family comes before everything, told me I had to sacrifice for the greater good. And me? I listened like a good daughter, got married, and wasted 5 years of my life in a golden cage. But then I learned something my parents never thought I would. I learned the law. I learned my rights. And when I got divorced, when I left that man, I took half of their family empire with me. And my father's face when he saw the settlement check? Honey, that shocked face was worth every sleepless night, every tear, every moment I felt like a commodity instead of a daughter. No, settle in, because this story starts 28 years ago, when I was born into a family that valued business over everything else. Part 1. The family business. Was born into the Chen family. My father, Richard Chen, built a commercial real estate empire from nothing. Started with one small office building in the 80s, worked his way up to owning dozens of properties across 3 states. By the time I was born, we were wealthy. Not millionaires, but comfortable. Very comfortable. My mother, Linda, came from old money. Her family had been in textiles for generations. When she married my father, she brought connections, class, and capital. Together, they were a power couple in our city's business community. I'm an only child. My mother had complications after I was born and couldn't have more children. So all their hopes, all their dreams, all their expectations, they all landed on me. From the time I could walk, I was groomed to be the perfect daughter. Piano lessons, ballet classes, private schools, etiquette training. I learned to sit up straight, speak properly, smile politely, and never cause trouble. I learned that image was everything, that the family name was sacred, that business always came first. I didn't have a normal childhood. While other kids played at the park, I was at networking events with my parents, shaking hands with businessmen 3 times my age. While other teenagers went to parties, I was attending charity galas in uncomfortable dresses, making small talk about market trends I didn't understand. My father used to say, "Eve, you're a Chen. That means something. That means you represent this family everywhere you go. Don't disappoint us." I tried not to disappoint them. God, did I try. I went to the college they chose. Majored in business administration because that's what they wanted. Joined the sorority they recommended. Dated boys from good families that they approved of. I was the perfect daughter. The obedient daughter. The daughter who never questioned, never rebelled, never said no. I graduated summa cum laude at 22. My parents threw a big party to celebrate. All their business associates came. Everyone congratulated them on raising such an accomplished young woman. My father gave a speech about how proud he was, how I was going to join the family business and help take it to new heights. I smiled and nodded and thanked everyone. Inside, I felt hollow because I didn't want to work in real estate. I wanted to be a teacher. I loved working with children. I'd volunteered at an after-school program all through college and felt more fulfilled there than I ever did in my business classes. But I never told my parents that, because disappointing them was worse than disappointing myself. Part 2. The arrangement. A month after grad. My father called me into his office at home. It was a Sunday afternoon. I remember because we'd just had family brunch, and I was planning to spend the afternoon reading. "Eve, sit down," he said. "Your mother and I need to talk to you about something important." My mother was already sitting on the leather couch, her hands folded in her lap. She had that look on her face, the one that meant something serious was happening. I sat down. "What's wrong?" "Nothing's wrong," my father said. He was standing by the window, hands in his pockets, looking out at the garden. "Actually, something very right is happening. An opportunity. For the family. For the business." I waited. My stomach was already starting to knot. "There's a man," my mother began. "A very successful businessman. His name is George Patterson. He owns Patterson Industries, manufacturing, distribution. Very profitable. Your father has been trying to do business with him for years." "Okay," I said slowly. "What does this have to do with me?" My father turned around. "George is interested in investing in our company. A significant investment. Enough to expand our operations, buy new properties, double our portfolio in 5 years." "That's great, Daddy." "But he has conditions." My father walked over and sat down next to my mother. "He wants to merge our families, officially, through marriage." The words didn't make sense at first. I just stared at them. "Marriage?" I repeated. "Who's getting married?" My mother reached over and took my hand. "You are, sweetie. George wants to marry you." The room started spinning. "What? I don't even know him." "We know," my mother said quickly. "But we've met with him several times. He's a good man. Successful, stable, well-respected in the community." "How old is he?" My parents exchanged a look. "He's 52, my father said. "But that doesn't matter. Age is just a number. What matters is that he can provide for you, and this marriage will secure the future of our family business." 52. He was 52 years old. I was 23. He was older than my father. "I don't understand," I said. My voice sounded far away. "You want me to marry a stranger? A man who's 52 years old? So he'll invest in your business?" "Our business," my father corrected. "This is your legacy too, Eve. Everything we've built will be yours someday. This marriage ensures that legacy continues, that it grows." "But I don't love him. I don't even know him." "Love comes with time," my mother said. She was using her soothing voice, the one she used when she wanted to calm me down. "Marriage is a partnership. It's about compatibility, shared goals, mutual respect. Romance is for movies. This is real life." "No." The word came out as a whisper. "No, I can't do this." My father's face hardened. "Eve, this family has given you everything. The best schools, the best opportunities, the best life. Now it's time for you to give back, to do your duty." "My duty? To marry a man old enough to be my father? To secure your family's future?" My father's voice rose. "Do you know how hard I've worked to build this company? Do you know what I've sacrificed? And now I'm asking you for one thing. One thing. To make a good marriage that benefits everyone. What about what I want? What about my life? Your life is tied to this family, my mother said. That's what being a Chen means. We support each other. We make sacrifices for each other. But you're not making any sacrifices, I said. Tears were streaming down my face now. You're asking me to sacrifice everything. My freedom, my future, my chance at real love. Love is overrated, my father said dismissively. Financial security is what matters, and George will provide that. He'll take care of you. You'll live in a beautiful want for nothing. He'll treat you well. And you'll have security, comfort, a good life. That's more than most women get. But it's not love, I whispered. No, she admitted. But it's enough. Love fades anyway. Security lasts. She kissed my forehead and left. I sat there alone in my father's office, crying, feeling like my life had just been sold to the highest bidder. Part 3. The wedding. I met George the following week. He took me to an expensive restaurant, wore an expensive suit, drove an expensive car. Everything about him screamed money. He was polite, I'll give him that. He asked about my interests, my education, my plans for the future. He didn't talk down to me. But he also looked at me the way my father looked at properties, assessing value, calculating return on investment. Over the next 6 months, we went on more dates. Dinners, theater shows, gallery openings. Always chaperoned by my parents or his business associates. Never alone, never intimate. Just two people going through the motions of a courtship that had already been decided. I tried to get to know him, tried to find something to connect to, but there was nothing. He was a businessman through and through. He talked about profit margins and market share and expansion plans. He had no hobbies, no passions, no depth. I told my parents I couldn't go through with it. 3 times I tried to back out. Each time, said I'd be cut off financially, removed from the family, dead to them. My mother cried and begged me not to tear the family apart. I felt trapped. I'd never worked a real job, never lived on my own, never been independent. The thought of being alone in the world, with no money and no support, terrified me. So I went through with it. The wedding was lavish. 400 guests, designer dress, orchids flown in from Thailand, a string quartet. Everything picture perfect, everything fake. I walked down the aisle in a fog, said my vows like a robot. Let George kiss me while everyone applauded, smiled for photos while dying inside. That night, in the honeymoon suite of a 5-star hotel, George was gentle but distant. He treated the consummation of our marriage like a business transaction. Necessary, but not particularly interesting. Then he went to sleep, while I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering how my life had led to this moment. Part 4. The prison. The first year of marriage was an adjustment. George's house was massive. 8 bedrooms, 6 bathrooms, a pool, a tennis court. But it felt cold, empty, more like a museum than a home. George worked constantly. He left at 6 in the morning, came home at 8 at night, sometimes later. Weekends were spent at the office or at business dinners. I was expected to attend the dinners, smile and make small talk, play the perfect wife. I had everything material I could want: clothes, jewelry, a nice car. credit cards with no limits. But I had no purpose, no job, no real friends. George didn't want me working, said it wouldn't look right for his wife to have a job, said my job was to manage the household and support his career. I spent my days shopping, getting my hair and nails done, attending ladies' luncheons with other wealthy wives who had nothing to talk about except their husband's money. I was bored, lonely. My parents called once a week, always asking about George, about the business deal, about whether I was being a good wife. Never asking if I was happy. Never asking what I wanted. Year 2 was worse. George started pressuring me about children. Said he wanted an heir. I kept making excuses. I wasn't ready. I wanted to wait. We should enjoy being married first. The truth was, I couldn't imagine bringing a child into this cold, loveless marriage. Year 3. I started seeing a therapist in secret, paid with cash, so George wouldn't see it on the credit card statements. Her name was Dr. Sarah Williams, and she was the first person who asked me what I wanted. I don't know, I told her. I've never known. I've always done what other people wanted. It's time to figure it out, she said. Because you only get one life, Eve, and you're wasting it making everyone else happy except yourself. That session changed something in me, started a fire that had been smoldering for years. Part 5. The plan. Year 4. I started researching divorce law, property rights, marital assets. I spent hours online, learning everything I could about how divorces worked, what I was entitled to, how to protect myself. I learned that in our state, anything acquired during marriage was considered marital property. That meant I was entitled to half of everything George had accumulated during our marriage. And George had accumulated a lot. His investment in my father's company had paid off. They'd expanded significantly. George now owned 40% of Chen Properties. He'd also bought several businesses of his own, using profits from the real estate deal. His net worth had tripled during our marriage. I was entitled to half of that. I also learned that George had been foolish. He'd put my name on several accounts and properties to avoid taxes, thinking I was too naive to understand what it meant. Thinking I'd never leave, thinking I was trapped. He was wrong. Year 5, I contacted a lawyer, the best divorce attorney in the state. Her name was Rebecca Morrison, and she had a reputation for destroying unfaithful husbands and greedy businessmen in court. I met with her in secret, told her everything, showed her the documents I'd collected, bank statements, property deeds, business records. She smiled. Eve, you have a very strong case. Your husband used marital assets to build his empire during your marriage. You're entitled to half. But more importantly, you have leverage. Your father's company. If George fights the divorce, we can threaten to force a sale of his shares. That would destroy the company. Your father would lose everything. Good, I said. Let them lose everything. They sold me like cattle. They deserve to lose. Rebecca looked at me with respect. You're not the scared young woman who walked into this marriage, are you? No, I said. I'm not. I'm done being scared. I'm done being controlled. I'm ready to fight. Then let's fight. Part 6. The Divorce. I filed for divorce on a Monday morning. George was served papers at his office. He called me immediately, furious. "What the hell is this, Eve?" "It's a divorce petition. I'm leaving you." "You can't leave me. We have an arrangement." "An arrangement you made with my parents, not with me. I never wanted this marriage, George. I never wanted you." "You ungrateful—" He caught himself. "Eve, be reasonable. You have a good life. You have everything. I have nothing. I have a gilded cage. But I'm breaking free now. Your parents will never forgive you. I don't care." He hung up. 20 minutes later, my father called. "What have you done?" he roared. "You're divorcing George? Do you know what this will do to our business? He owns 40% of the company." "I know exactly what it will do. That's why I'm doing it." "Eve, you stop this right now. You call off this divorce. You apologize to George, and you save this family." "No, you should have thought about the family before you sold your daughter to a stranger. I gave you everything. You gave me nothing I wanted. You gave me a life sentence. But I'm commuting my sentence now. I'm getting out. And I'm taking half of everything with me." "Half of—" My father's voice choked. "What are you talking about?" "George's assets. Their marital property. I'm entitled to half, including his shares in your company. My lawyer is drawing up the settlement now." "You can't do this. I won't let you." "You can't stop me. I'm not your little girl anymore. I'm not your commodity. I'm done." I hung up. My hands were shaking, but I felt strong. Stronger than I'd ever felt in my life. The divorce took 8 months. 8 months of legal battles, of George and my parents trying every trick to reduce. She fought for every penny. George tried to hide assets. Rebecca found them. He tried to claim the money in joint accounts was his. Rebecca proved otherwise. He tried to pressure me to settle for less. Rebecca told him we'd take it to trial and air all his dirty business dealings in public court. That threat worked. George's company had secrets, tax evasion, bribery, shady deals. He didn't want any of that coming out in a messy trial. Finally, we settled. I got $15 million in cash and assets. I also got 20% of George's shares in Chen Properties, my father's company. The company my father had forced me to marry for. 20% wasn't controlling interest, but it was enough to have a voice. Enough to cause problems if they tried to cut me out. Enough to make them remember what they did to me every time they looked at the shareholder list. Part 7. The Freedom. The day the settlement was finalized, I went to my parents' house. I hadn't seen them in months. They'd made it clear I was dead to them. I rang the doorbell. My mother answered. She looked older, more tired. When she saw me, her face went cold. "What do you want?" "To say goodbye and to give you this." I handed her an envelope. "What is it?" "A check for the cost of my wedding, my education, everything you ever spent on me, with interest. I don't want to owe you anything." My mother opened the envelope, saw the check for $300,000. Her hands started shaking. "You can't buy your way out of being our daughter. When you forced me into a marriage I didn't want, when you chose money over my happiness, you did this, not me. That money you took," my father said bitterly, "that 20% of the company, you'll never get a penny of dividends. I'll make sure of it. I don't want your dividends. I just want you to remember every single day that your daughter owns part of your precious company, and there's nothing you can do about it. My mother started crying. How did you become so cold? You taught me, I said. You taught me that business comes first, that family is about transactions, that love doesn't matter as much as money. I learned from the best. I turned to leave. Where will you go? My mother asked. What will you do? I'm going to live my life. The life I should have had from the beginning. The life you took from me. I walked away and didn't look back. Epilogue. The life I built. That was 10 years ago. I'm 38 now. And honey, let me tell you about the life I built. With my settlement money, I started a foundation. The Eve Chen Foundation for Young Women's Education. We give scholarships to girls from low-income families who want to go to college. We fund programs that teach financial literacy and independence. We help young women escape controlling situations. I also went back to school, got my teaching credential. Now I teach 3rd grade at a public school. It pays a fraction of what I could make in business, but it fills my soul in a way money never did. I travel. I've been to 32 countries. I go where I want, when I want. Answer to no one. I fell in love. His name is Marcus. He's a high school history teacher, drives a beat-up Honda, lives in a modest apartment. He has nothing materially, but he has kindness, passion, humor, integrity, everything George and my parents lacked. We've been together for 3 years. He tells me I'm the strongest woman he's ever met. I still own that 20% of Chen properties. Every year, I get statements showing the company's performance. Every year, I'm reminded of what my father valued more than his daughter. The company is struggling now. My father is 70, slowing down. He's tried to buy back my shares several times, offered me double what they're worth. I always say no. Not because I want to hurt him, but because I want him to remember. My mother calls sometimes, usually around holidays. The conversations are stiff, formal. She asks about my life. I give minimal answers. She never apologizes. Neither do I. We're too far gone for apologies. Do I regret what I did? Taking half the empire? Destroying their business deal? Walking away from my family? Not for 1 second. Because the alternative was spending the rest of my life in that golden cage, pretending to be happy, pretending to be fulfilled, dying slowly inside while everyone around me praised me for being such a good wife, such a good daughter. Instead, I chose freedom. I chose myself. And yes, it cost me my family. But the family I lost wasn't real anyway. It was transactional, conditional, based on obedience, not love. The life I have now, this is real. The students who hug me, the young women I help through my foundation, Marcus holding my hand, the freedom to make my own choices. That's real. So, honey, if you take anything from my story, let it be this. You are not an asset. You are not a commodity. You are not a tool for someone else's empire. You are a person with rights, with dreams, with value that has nothing to do with how you can benefit others. And if the people who are supposed to love you treat you like anything less, take what's yours and walk away. Build your own empire on your own terms, because the best revenge isn't destroying them, it's living so well, so freely, so fully, that they see exactly what they lost when they tried to control you. My father lost his daughter. He lost his peace. He lost 20% of his company. And every day, he has to live with the knowledge that he did it to himself. And me? I lost a family that never really valued me. But I gained myself. And that's worth more than any empire. The end. Told by Eve, a woman who was sold for business, but bought her own freedom.